I forget to lock the projection room door. It feels like nothing, a tiny omission. I even notice it as I walk in, because the latch does not click the way it always does. I tell myself I will do it after I thread the reel. The audience is already settling, a low sea of coats and whispered candy wrappers that leaks up through the vent grate under my boots. I set my flashlight on the workbench. It is the old metal one I keep for emergencies, the one with the loose battery spring. When I tap it, the beam comes on and off in a slow, soft rhythm. Not a stutter, not a rapid flicker, a long brighten, a long dim, like someone breathing through their nose in the dark. The film tonight is a simple revival. Nothing fancy, just a print the manager insists will sell out. I do my checks, I set the focus, I wipe a fingerprint off the glass, and I glance at the small monitor that shows the auditorium. It is a cheap security feed meant to keep an eye on the crowd. The monitor shows the audience, but the audience is not looking at the screen. They are looking at themselves. I blink. The big screen, as seen from the security camera, is not showing the movie. It is showing a clear, live shot of the seats. The same rows, the same heads, the same little movements. Every person on the screen is the person in the seat below it, framed perfectly, like the theater has turned into a mirror that only reflects flesh. My stomach tightens with a practical annoyance first. Wrong input. Wrong source. I reach for the switcher, the tangle of cables, the dusty panel that never behaves. My fingers hover over the knobs. Then the sound from downstairs changes. The film is supposed to start with a bright overture and a familiar logo. Instead, I hear the audience react to something quiet, uncertain. A ripple of laughter that dies quickly. A cough that stops mid-breath. The soft scrape of someone shifting in their seat as if they cannot get comfortable anymore. I look at the port glass, the small window cut into the wall. Through it I see the screen from behind, a pale rectangle beyond the dark. It should be filled with the first frames of the print. It is filled with them, with the people. The screen glows with live faces, live shoulders, live hands lifting cups, live eyes turning back and forth as everyone tries to understand what they are seeing. The camera angle is too good. It is not the usual ceiling security camera view. It is centered, steady, at the exact height of the screen, like something is standing there, filming them. I reach for the door behind me to lock it and my fingers find only smooth wood. The door is closed now. I do not remember closing it. I twist the knob. It does not give. I try again harder, feeling heat rise in my neck. The latch holds. The door is locked from the outside. My mistake, that tiny omission, has flipped into a shape I cannot change. The flashlight on the bench reads brighter, then dimmer, as if it likes the new situation. I force myself to think like a projectionist, like a person with a job and a checklist. There has to be a source feeding the projector, a camera, a device, a break. I glance at the projector head. The reel is threaded correctly. The film is moving. The intermittent sprocket chatters with its normal rhythm. The sound reader light is on, but what the audience sees is not on the film. I pull the print gently, slow it, stop it. The projector winds down. Downstairs, the screen does not go black. It keeps showing them. The audience shifts in a wave. A few people stand. I can see them on the live image, small figures rising in their seats, turning to look behind them at the back of the room, as if they expect someone to step into the aisle and explain. The screen shows they're turning too. The feed is still there. It does not care that the film has stopped. My mouth is dry. I feel the need to call the manager, to call anyone, but my phone is in my locker downstairs. I never bring it up because the booth is hot and I do not want it to overheat. Another small habit. Another tiny choice. I step closer to the port glass and press my face near it. The auditorium is dim, lit only by the screen. I can make out the tops of heads and the faint shine of hair. I can see the aisle lights like tiny stars. On the screen, the live image of the audience is too sharp, too evenly lit, like night vision without the grain. Faces are clear enough that I can pick out expressions. Confusion, embarrassment, a few smiles that have nowhere to go. And then, on the screen, I see a movement that does not belong. In the upper left corner of the projected image, where the edge of the frame catches the glossy curve of the side wall, a shape leans in. It is not a person. It is an absence shaped like a person. A darker patch that makes the wall look deeper than it should. No one in the seats reacts to that corner. They are too focused on themselves. I look through the port glass at the actual wall in the auditorium. Nothing is there. I look back at the screen image. The absence remains, and it shifts like a shoulder rolling forward. My breath catches. I tell myself it is a reflection, a camera artifact, some lens flare, but it is too deliberate. It moves with intention. The flashlight on my bench brightens, then dims, patient, like a lung. I turn away from the port glass and scan the projection room. It is cramped, filled with metal housings and spools and a smell of warm dust. There is a small mirror screwed to the wall near the sink, the kind used to check your face after a long shift. I rarely look into it. I do now. My reflection is pale and sweaty. My eyes are wide. Over my shoulder I see the door, and in the mirror, the door is open. I spin around. The door is still closed, solid, unyielding. I look back at the mirror. The door in the reflection stands ajar by a hand width, revealing a slice of darkness beyond. The mirror does not show my spinning. It shows me still, frozen, as if it is a second behind, as if it is waiting for me to catch up. The breathing flashlight dims. In the mirror, something moves in that slice of darkness. A pale edge, like skin catching light. A curve that could be a cheek. I step back until my shoulder hits the projector housing. The metal is hot through my shirt. I cannot hear footsteps. I cannot hear the door. I cannot hear anything in the booth except the faint hum of a cooling fan and my own blood. Downstairs, the audience noise swells. I hear someone shout something I cannot make out. I hear the tone shift into irritation, then into unease. A few people clap sarcastically, then stop when no one laughs. I risk another look through the port glass. On the screen, the absence in the upper left has slid further into view. It is closer now, like it has leaned into the camera. It is not visible in the auditorium itself, only on the screen. The feed is a reflection of something, I realize, not a camera, a surface. The screen is reflecting the audience, but screens do not reflect like that. Not with that clarity, not with that angle, unless the screen is not a screen, unless it is a mirror that only pretends to be cloth. The thought is ridiculous, but it lands in me with a weight that makes my knees loosen. I look back at the wall mirror again. The door in the reflection is wider now. A hand appears around the edge, not a full hand, a suggestion of one, like a smear in glass. The fingers are too long, too smooth, as if made of the same darkness as the gap behind the door. It grips the reflected door frame. My actual door does not move. I grab the flashlight. The beam blooms, then fades, then blooms again, slow as a chest rising. I pointed at the actual door. The cone of light hits wood and paint and nothing else. I pointed at the mirror. In the mirror, the flashlight beam is brighter, wider. It spills into the reflected gap behind the door like milk. Something recoils in that reflected darkness. The fingers loosen, then tighten again, as if testing pain. My skin prickles. The flashlight is not just light, it's a boundary, but only in reflection. Downstairs, I hear a scream. It is brief and sharp, like someone surprised rather than hurt. Then a second scream answers it, longer, and the entire room of people begins to speak at once. I look through the port glass. On the screen, the live image is closer now, zoomed in on the middle rows. People are turning around in their seats, looking behind them, looking up at the projection window, looking anywhere but the screen that holds them. One woman stands and points at the screen itself. Her mouth moves as if she is saying, "That is me." Behind her, on the screen, something stands. It is directly behind her seat in the projected image, tall and narrow, head tilted. It does not appear in the actual auditorium. I can see the empty space behind her through the port glass. Nothing there but air. But on the screen, the shape is close enough that its shadow should fall on her. It does not cast a shadow. It is a shadow. It raises an arm. The woman does not feel it. The people around her cannot see it because they are looking at the real room, not the screen. But a few do look at the screen, and I see their faces change when they notice what is behind her. Their expressions compress into something primal. Their bodies react before their minds do. They flinch away from the image even though it's only light. The breathing flashlight dims in my hand, and for a moment the booth feels larger, as if the dark expands. The wall mirror shows my face, and behind me, the reflected door open enough now that a shoulder can slip through. I do not move. I cannot decide where the danger is. In the auditorium, the screen shows a thing that only exists in that projected reflection. In the booth, the mirror shows a door that is not open, and something trying to enter through it. My head fills with a simple rule that forms itself without logic. It can only be where it's reflected. It cannot exist in the direct world, so it uses surfaces that pretend to be something else. A movie screen that pretends to show a film. A mirror that pretends to show truth. The flashlight breathes brighter. In that bright phase, the mirror image sharpens, and I see the presence more clearly. It is not a monster with features. It is a person-shaped omission. It looks like a man in a coat until you try to focus, and then it becomes a hole cut into the world, edged with the faintest sheen like oil. Its head turns, not toward my reflected face, but toward the flashlight beam in the mirror, as if it can see the light only when it appears in the surface. Downstairs, the audience surges. I hear seats thump, people pushing past knees. I hear the heavy exit door open and the cold outside air rush in like a sigh. On the screen, the live image follows them, panning smoothly toward the exit. No camera could pan like that without a rig. It is not a feed. It is a gaze. The presence on the screen glides with them, staying just behind the group that is moving, always in the frame, always where the screen can hold it. In the booth mirror, the presence inches forward through the reflected doorway. One slow movement that matches the flashlight rhythm. Brighten, it advances. Dim, it pauses. Brighten, it advances. It is using my light. I snap the flashlights off. The booth falls into dim emergency glow from the equipment indicators. The wall mirror becomes a dark square. Silence swells. My ears ring. Then, in the darkness, the flashlight clicks itself on. Not a sudden flare. A slow inhale of light. The beam points at the mirror even though my hand is not on the switch. My fingers are clenched around the barrel, but the angle has changed as if the flashlight is being guided. In the mirror, the reflected door is wide open and the presence is halfway through. Its outline is clearer in the beam. It has the suggestion of a face, but the features are wrong, like someone tried to draw a man from memory and forgot the spacing. The eyes are too close. The mouth is too low. The skin looks like the gray shine of a screen when it is off. It leans toward the mirror surface from the inside. I realize with a cold certainty that it is not trying to come into the booth. It is trying to come into me, because I am the only thing in this room that exists in both places. I am here, and I am in the mirror. The audience downstairs is fleeing, but the screen still shows them, trapping their images even as their bodies move. The presence follows the images, not the people. It hunts the reflected versions. And in the booth, it is closer to the mirror than I am. I lift the flashlight with both hands and aim it directly into the mirror, forcing the beam to fill the glass. The breathing rhythm continues, but I try to overpower it, to hold it steady. My hands shake. The light swells and fades anyway, like it is alive. In the bright phase, the presence flinches, pulling back. In the dim phase, it surges forward, pressing its palm flat against the inside of the mirror. The glass does not flex, but my reflection does. My reflected shoulders slump, my head tilts, my mouth opens slightly as if someone is testing the hinge of my jaw. I keep my real mouth closed door's teeth clench so hard my gums ache. The reflected me smiles. It is not my smile. Downstairs, the theater sound system crackles. A microphone squeals, then cuts. The manager is probably trying to make an announcement to calm people to demand refunds. On the screen, the manager appears in the aisle, waving his arms. He looks small and frantic. Behind him, the presence stands so close it is almost touching his back. The manager does not feel it, but the people watching the screen do, and their fear becomes contagious. They push harder for the exits. Someone falls. Someone else steps over them. I want to shout, to warn them to stop looking at the screen, to stop giving it a place to exist. But my voice catches in my throat because I see my own reflection again. The reflected me is no longer holding the flashlight. It is holding its hand up to the glass from the inside, mirroring the presence. My real hand is still on the flashlight barrel. My reflected hand is free. It presses its fingertips against the inside surface, aligning with the presence fingertips, and the two sets of fingers overlap like tracing paper. The breathing flashlight dims. In that dimness, the mirror darkens, and for a second I see only my eyes floating, and behind them a depth that is not my skull. The presence whispers, not in sound, in the way a word appears in your mind when you almost fall asleep, a suggestion shaped like a sentence. Let me out. My heart slams. I pull the flashlight away from the mirror, aiming it at the floor, starving the glass of light. The booth feels colder. The projector equipment hum changes pitch, like it is listening. I back toward the workbench, keeping my eyes off the mirror because I know that looking is a kind of permission. My heel hits something, a metal can. It rolls with a soft clatter, and the door behind me, the real door, the one that has been shut and locked, makes a sound. A gentle click, not the latch, a lock turning. From the outside, I freeze, flashlight in my hands, breathing out of sync with its slow inhale and exhale of light. I do not know if someone has finally come to help, or if the reflection has learned how to touch what is real. The knob begins to turn. In the black square of the wall mirror, something brightens, as if a face is pressing close to the glass from the other side. The breathing flashlight swells to its brightest point all at once, and the port glass fills with a glow of the screen downstairs, still showing the live audience, still holding their images even as they run. The door opens a fraction, and I hear my own voice from the other side, calm and familiar, say my name like it belongs to someone else.